Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Red Dead Redemption 2. Previously, we took down Fusar and freed the ship captain so that we could leave Guarma. From there, we returned to Shady Belle to search for clues as to find where the rest of the gang had went to. And we discovered that they were here at this camp, Lakay, which is an abandoned place out in the bayou. And we were attacked immediately by Pinkertons. So again, we're going to have to move camp very quickly this time. So with that being said, we're going to connect with Dutch about moving camp, and then connect with Sadie later about getting John out of prison because he was captured back when we hit the bank at Saint Denis. So let's get started and see where that takes us.
White to D4. Black to F5. White to G3. Knight to F6. Bishop to G2. Black to G6. Knight to F3. White to D4. You okay there? Working it all out. Once and for all, Arthur.
What now?
We're back, and I'm sitting here, and I am contemplating the great journey of the sun and considering a famous chess move. Those oily enactors of a mediocre justice, the Pinkertons, and their benefactor, the depressing millionaire Leviticus Cornwall, they want us, Arthur. They want us. And they are going to have us.
Maybe they ain't the problem.
Meaning?
I don't know, it's just, well, I can't help but feel we would have been better running off someplace else.
But the game ain't over, Arthur. I mean, I ain't played my final move, but...
I guess I'm more interested in saving lives than winning at chess.
And maybe life ain't such a thing to cling on to so tightly.
No doubt. What about the women?
You sound like Hosea. I miss...
I asked you a question.
What do you think?
We can't stay here. That much is obvious. Where are we gonna run to? I mean, they chased us from the west. They chased us over the mountains. They ran us into the sea.
Arthur, do you have my back?
Always, Dutch. But there's more than your back to worry about. We need more money. We've been on the run for months now, and I seen you killing folk in cold blood like you always told me not to. And I'm sorry, but I can't help but think that if we
There is country in Roanoke Ridge past Butcher Creek I believe we could hold.
Okay.
You and Charles, you can take folks up that way. Micah and I need to do some reconnaissance. I ain't got a final plan yet. Arthur, I ain't got it. I just need time. I need time and no traitors.
Kind of a strong word to be throwing at us. Especially all things considered lately. And the fact that we've been with him for how many years? 20?
Sir.
Or more?
Charles. Be right with me.
Always.
Oh, just lovely.
Where are we headed?
Up past Butcher Creek.
It's Murfree Brute Country.
That's why I'm asking you to ride with me.
I think we need a bigger gun. There we
I
go.
understand. What are we doing there?
We're looking for a place to hole up. Even the law won't follow us up there too willingly.
Yeah. I did some scouting up there while you boys were away.
And?
You'll see. I know the way. Follow me.
Okay, girl. Been a while. We need to get this done fast. The Pinkertons will have reinforced in another day or two.
Yeah. The sooner we get out of here, the better. It's quite a ride up there. I saw some canoes near the bridge upriver, which would take us right up to Butcher Creek. Might be quicker. What do you think?
Yeah, a boat's probably a good idea.
Okay, good.
It's good to see you again, Charles.
You too.
Thanks for what you did in Saint Denis. Real brave drawing them off us like that. I was worried you and Abigail had both got yourselves killed.
I found a spot to lie low for a while, then managed to get a ride with a wagon of workers heading out to the fields. Abigail said she somehow managed to slip away when they grabbed Hosea.
You did good getting the others out of there. Keeping everyone together.
Everybody was pretty shaken up when I got back to Shady Belle. It was a tough few days. I couldn't have done it without Sadie.
So how did you find that spot back there? I assume the skulls on sticks weren't an addition of yours.
Old Strauss knew about it. The locals are terrified of the place, so we figured that might buy us some time. And it did. Until one of you brought the law with you. And where did you end up again? Cuba?
Oh, not exactly. An island off of there, called Guarma. Landed ourselves in a heap of trouble.
Really? A tropical island? Isn't that just what Dutch wanted?
I guess it didn't exactly live up to his ideals. Anyway, I ain't always sure Dutch knows what he wants anymore.
Perhaps not. But he's always managed to figure things out in the past.
I know. Yeah, you're right. Just... It's been... Guess I just miss Hosea and his wisdom, you know?
Of course.
You and me both. You know, storyline-wise, I think Hosea's death was necessary to push the story forward. He was our voice of reason, and
There should be some canoes down to the right here.
things wouldn't press forward quite the same with him here.
Well, I see one anyway. That'll do. Come on.
Yeah, I'll take these.
Okay. Butcher Creek is a few miles upriver. So I spent some time up this way while you were gone. I ran into Rainsfall and the Eagle Flies. The Indians? And I've been trying to help out a bit where I can at their reservation. Things are bad there.
That's not a surprise. They seem to be in a lot of trouble and heading into more.
Some men there spoke a lot about the Murfree gang that hides out in these caves. And we're gonna need to be careful. They're animals. Everyone is terrified of them.
Great! Dutch didn't mention this.
Well, hiding up here, it's not a crazy idea. This is a spot nobody comes near, even the law. But just be ready. It won't be pretty.
So be it.
Yeah. And we've had some run-ins with them. Quite a few, actually.
Butcher Creek up ahead.
Who are they?
The locals.
Well, they don't look too friendly.
Wait till you meet the Murfrees. All right, let's walk it from here. Good evening.
These Murfree hills, stranger. Might watch where you wander.
It's a bit of a walk. We could grab those horses if you want. Probably won't miss them if we get them back by morning.
You can see why folks don't want to come around here. Ain't exactly a welcoming place.
Lots of stories of people going missing around these parts. Just recently, a stagecoach from Annisburg disappeared without a trace coming through here.
Guess that's good for us. Assuming these inbred bastards are willing to part with their home, which I'm sure they won't be too pleased about.
No. But I believe they hide out all over Roanoke Ridge. These caves are just one of their spots. Which is why we should keep it down. They might have lookouts around.
Okay.
You see that up ahead? Slow down, keep it quiet. It could be some of them. I say we dismount here and follow them on foot. See where they're going. Follow me, stay quiet. Let's get closer to them. Come on, up this way. Definitely Murfrees. I say we deal with them from here. You take one, I'll take the other.
Bit, huh? Why do I always gotta do the carrying?
Because I do the...
What are you waiting for? Good job. We must be close now. Let's stop and have a look from the top of this hill there.
Okay. Let's see what's going on.
That's the stagecoach we're missing.
Jesus. They must be in the cave. All right. Let's get on with this.
Okay. What you think? We can head into the cave or flush them out with dynamite?
Dynamite be safer.
Here. Let's be quiet and hope they don't come out. Let's get this over with. bit closer and then throw it into the cave. Hey, dynamite, Arthur.
Looks like it's on then, Charles.
Here they come! Let's get in there!
Only way he's leaving here is if...
You were wrong about these crazy sons of bitches.
He's more of them! Let's push in!
Got us a passel of pigs to
Will
kill.
someone put a hole in their head?
Damn it.
How is he knocked down?
Doggone done.
I got someone locked up in that cage!
There's Murfree's all seal.
Charles, you see any more?
Not for now! Come on, let's get that poor girl out of the cage.
Stay away from me.
Just calm down.
Don't touch me.
We ain't gonna hurt you.
Please don't kill me.
It's okay, miss. Hey. It's okay. It's okay. Shh. You're safe. It's okay. Come on. It's time to go. It's okay. Okay. Let's go. Where you from?
Annisburg.
What do we do with her?
Take her there and I'll go get the others.
Sure. Miss, you okay to ride on my horse a little? I'll keep you safe. Annisburg, right?
Yes. They did,
It's okay, miss.
the others, they killed them.
You're safe now. Just try to breathe.
They're animals.
I know. It's all right, miss.
Why would they?
Some folks is just evil. Ain't no point trying to explain it.
I haven't slept in days.
I know. What's your name? Miss, it's okay.
Meredith?
You're gonna be home soon, Meredith. And this'll all be over.
Thank you.
Where in Annesburg?
One of the mining cottages. If you get me to the main street, I can show you from there.
Okay. Just try to relax now.
To recall back to some of the encounters we've had with them, they tend to try to draw you in. Either they'll pretend that they're sick, or they've launched flaming carriages in my path. The Murfrees are pretty bad. Interestingly enough, too, they're the only group of, I guess, gangs, if you'd want to call them that have ever approached me before they started becoming aggressive towards me. Because if you recall back to the first time I was in this part of the state, and I camped out, they actually came to my camp at night and kind of gave me a really low-key threat to stay out of their territory. And after that's when I really started to run into them more. Now they're talking about people going missing around these parts and how the Murfrees are thought to be behind all
Just
that.
head to the main street. It'll be easier to walk from there.
So I imagine all the missing people are probably the Murfrees. Or are being taken by the Murfrees, I should say.
Fine morning.
Miss.
Oh.
Here.
Oh. Thank God.
Which place is yours?
Up at the top of the hill. It's near the blacksmith.
Come on, man.
Ma! Ma! Meredith! She's alive! Oh, she's alive!
You saw some pretty bad things, I'm afraid, man. Murfree brood got
Oh,
it.
my darling. How did you manage
I
to?
just ran into them and found her.
Oh, thank you. Here, let me give you this.
Oh, that's okay, ma'am. You just keep her warm and keep her safe. Mrs. Downs?
Oh, no. You leave me alone. You just leave me alone.
Thanks, buddy.
How you get on?
Okay. Found a girl. Took her home.
Oh,
You and Micah find anything?
maybe. I think maybe. I found our old friend, Mr. Cornwall.
You did?
Yeah, he's buying a stake in the mine in Annisburg.
Relentlessly ambitious fella, isn't he?
Mike and I'll sniff about, see if he knows we're here, and exactly what his plans are.
So, Dutch, did you miss me?
I found her drunk in Saint Denis.
You're back. How jolly, Miss
It's
O'Shea.
funny, you suck of shit.
Back
Who are
and
you?
drunk.
The Master, the Lord
Molly.
God Almighty.
Calm down.
I won't be ignored. Dutch Vanderlyn, I am him. I ain't her. Or any of your stooges.
Calm
You
yourself.
don't know me nothing.
Miss.
I don't know you nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
I'll spit in your eye. I did. I told them.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I told them and I tell them again. Now I've got God's ear.
You told who What?
Mr. Milton and Mr. Ross about the bank robbery, and I wanted them to kill you.
You did what?
I loved you, you goddamn bastard! Go on,
She's
shoot me!
crazy. She ain't worth it.
You told on me.
Oh, you're
You
not so
betrayed
big now,
me.
are you?
What?
Just calm down.
Arthur,
She's a fool. Get her out of here.
you know the
Oh,
rules.
not so big now. Are we, Your Majesty?
You...
She knew the rules, Arthur. What the hell is wrong with you? Mr. Pearson, Mr. Williamson, get this body out of here and get it burnt.
Okay.
Now get back to work, all of you! Quit your lollygagging! Get back to work!
You're a nasty woman, Miss Crenshaw. A nasty woman. You think I wanted to shoot her? You seem to like it. I saw that beady look in your eyes. You're drunk again. And you're a fucking murderer. She broke the rules. She did no such thing. She was in love. You sour-faced old crow. Goddamn you. Murderer. Murderer!
I can't say that I ever really liked Molly. I don't think she quite deserved that. I really felt bad for her with the way things were going between her and Dutch. I think she needed somebody to talk to. Needed him to listen.
If we can get through this day.
So, first of all, I'm going to stock some of these weapons away.
Hello, Mr. Smith.
Okay, so this is just going to be a temporary. We'll probably switch up the outfits soon, but I want to switch to something a little bit less formal. Take off the vest and just throw on the gunslinger jacket as a secondary for now. And I think that'll be good to go. And let's shave real quick. Man, that got long quick. Go with the 2.
Bill?
Stop stirring things, Abigail.
Hey. Hi.
Mister, are you okay? Mister, are you okay? Are you okay, mister? Mister, you don't look so good. Let's get you to a doctor. Come on, it's not far. Just down the street here.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'll be fine in a minute. There. I'm fine.
Nearly there, just around this corner. Now you head in there, friend. Go on.
Can I help you?
I need a doctor.
Oh, just 1 second, sir.
Come in, pal. Come in.
Mister, I need some help.
And so it seems. And that's Dr. Mister to you?
I'm sorry.
I was joking. Look, friend, I don't mean nothing, but you got money? I mean, before I start treating you, because I got a family.
Yeah, I understand. Here, that do you?
Sure. Thank you. Now, what's wrong? I mean, what appear to be the symptoms?
Well, I think you've heard them. I'm coughing.
Is there any blood?
Sometimes.
Okay, now here. Breathe. Again. Yeah. Let me see your tongue. Now say ah.
Ah. What is it?
It's not good news.
Well, I guess that.
You got tuberculosis. I'm really sorry for you, son. It's a hell of a thing.
What you mean?
You're real sick. It's a progressive disease, and you'll be... Now, the best thing is rest. And getting somewhere warm and dry and taking it easy. Now, is that possible?
Sure, I can just take my winters in my country club in California. No, it's not possible.
Well, like I said, I'm real sorry.
Yeah, well...
Yeah, wait. Let me get you a little bit more energy today.
We can't change what's done. We can only move on.
You have it in you, I can tell.
So, Arthur's been
Mister?
coughing for some time. if you go back to earlier chapters, it started becoming a lot more progressive recently. And you could really see it in them by the time they hit the boat, or got onto the boat and were in the storm. You could really hear the hacking. You could see it in his eyes at that point, and on the island especially. You might think, oh well, maybe he got sick on the island, and no, he was coughing before that.
Howdy.
So I am going to talk about tuberculosis some, but I think we'll save that for the end of the episode.
Any problems coming in?
Nah.
Guess they know now we ain't in the city.
Who, Mr. Milton's friends?
Yeah, they've had patrols out ever since you boys disappeared. Well, at least you're alive.
For now, yeah.
What happened in,
Guama?
Yeah.
Nothing nice.
What happened to Dutch? Because he seems...
I don't know. Seems as what began happening in Blackwater began happening years ago, maybe. Slow decline, I guess.
What do you mean?
I ain't quite sure. What happened here?
I started gathering people up as best I could after you boys left. And John, you know that part.
I do.
And Hosea?
So that too.
Hell, we got Lenny's body out as well. Bribed the morgue and buried them together. Follow me.
I think Hosea would appreciate that. He liked Lenny.
Hey, do you need something?
So, what's your plan here?
Well, I figure before we do anything, we need to make sure John's even still at this prison.
And how do we do that?
We need to get up high enough to get a proper look at the place.
What? It's on an island, ain't it? Unless you're planning on learning how to fly.
That's exactly what we're gonna do. I found us a hot air balloon.
You ain't serious.
Now, the pilot, or whatever you call him, he thinks we're just in it for a lesson. Bit of a tour. He's quite the character. I think you'll like him.
You know, I'm impressed. You really stepped things up, ain't you?
Hey, we didn't know if you was even coming back. Whole thing hit folks real hard. You can see it. Perrin's gone falling fully into the bottle. Strauss is a bag of nerves. Swanson's actually gone and cleaned up his act. So I guess it ain't all gone to shit. I'm just happy you boys were able to find us. Javier said he got the letter I left at the post office.
That was a good idea.
Until the Pinkertons showed up. Oh, by the way, I've been hunting O'Driscoll boys. Killed 2 of the sons of bitches at a campsite last week.
What?
Yeah. Seems they've drifted down this way now.
You're a busy woman, Sadie Adler.
Oh, she a beauty, ain't she?
From here on the ground, yes.
Mr. Bullard? Mr. Bullard.
Ah, Mrs. Adler. Good to see you. Good to see you.
This is my friend I told you about, Mr. Morgan.
Ah, yes, Arturo Bullitt. At your service, sir. At your service.
Arthur Morgan.
Well, it's a nice, fresh day for flying, sir. A day like today, an Icarus would have made it across the sea. Have you ever flown before, sir?
No.
Oh, well, it's quite a thing. Quite a thing. Now, put these on and hop in.
Well, ain't she coming?
Well, women can't fly, sir. Are you insane?
They can't.
Oh, no, sir. It does terrible damage to them, to their vapors. I thought everyone knew about that. Why, a delicate flower like Mrs. Adler? Heavens above. Or below.
Where'd you find this guy?
I told you two would get on.
Are you sure about this?
Certain, sir. Quite certain. Mrs., let us away. Wish us luck. I've only crashed twice. Now, pull on that rope and hope for the best.
Gets better by the second.
You boys have fun.
How did you get out of this?
Okay, here goes nothing.
Yes, how did you get out of this?
Right. Time to catch a few vapors of our own. It's a little overcast, but I'm expecting some good wind once we're high enough. We should still have some decent views over the river.
This would be terrifying.
One hates to be coarse, but on the subject of ablutions, liquids over the side, solids, do your utmost to levy the situation until we land.
Okay, Mr. Bullard.
I had a client once who fell foul to a rotten oyster on the ascent. A decidedly harrowing experience for all involved. Keep going, sir! We need to get up above the clouds. It really is stunning up there. You'll have seen nothing like it.
Oh, my God.
Yes, heavenly indeed. Quite remarkable, isn't it? Feels like we have a nice westerly wind, so keep her around this height. This particular vessel is state-of-the-art, sir. Imported from Europe. You won't find more than a couple of these on this side of the pond.
So long as it works. You sure you shouldn't be doing this?
Oh, not at all. A child could operate this with a little supervision. Besides, Mrs. Adler told me you were very keen to learn the ropes. We have plenty of those.
She did she?
Mrs. Adler is one of a kind. Say that.
Okay, we're getting a little high now.
Yeah, I know.
Arthur and Arturo. How perfect is this? My mother was a keen student of the Italianate. My brother's called Baldessario, so you could say I got off lightly.
Look, I'm trying to concentrate here.
Did you breakfast in the city this morning, Mr. Morgan?
Not exactly.
Well, I have a boiled egg in my pocket here that you're very welcome to.
I think I'm all right, thank you. Recalling the ablutions discussion.
Well, just say the word. So, if I may ask, what got you interested in the pursuit of aviation?
I didn't exactly. Mrs. Adler thought she'd surprise me.
Ah, a very nice woman. And no shrinking violet.
Definitely not.
I prefer slightly more feminine attire on a lady, but variety is the very spice of life, as they say. Or is it, though? Did you know they locked up the man who wrote that in a mental asylum?
I did not, Mr. Bullard.
Maybe ease off the throttle there, sir. See that building up ahead on the island? That's the infamous Sisika Penitentiary.
That's where we're going. Sort of.
We shouldn't fly too near to it, though, sir.
Sorry, we're going in for a closer look.
What do you mean? Mr. Morgan, please, this is most irregular.
Well, you want a happy customer, don't you?
Look, this isn't funny now. What on earth are you doing? The guards are bound to spot us.
Calm down. They won't care if we stay high enough. I'm just looking for a friend of mine.
A friend?
Poor bastard has a habit of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I heard they got him working the fields in a chain gang.
dear God. The wind. Well, this is most unusual.
Relax, Mr. Bullard, and take over. Keep us well away.
I'll do my best. This filly isn't the easiest to control, you know.
That ain't John.
Should we, think about heading back?
Nope, not there. Looks like it. It's hard to tell, though. Yep, that's him.
Ah! My God!
What are you doing?
They're shooting at us!
I can see that.
Up, 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 up. Higher, higher. Okay, guys, come on.
This is absolutely insane. The wind speed is picking up. We should stay at this altitude. It's heading northwesterly, so that should take us back to land. Dear God, I'm shaking like a leaf.
Alright, we're in the clear now, Mr. Bullard. You can get up.
Good Lord, my heart is pounding. I must say, the specifics of this job were not described to me at all sufficiently.
Well, it's done now.
There's Annesburg.
Sure.
Good Lord, is that Mrs. Adler?
Where?
Being chased.
Yes.
Sure looks like it.
Try and get us near.
Will there be more trouble, sir?
I expect so.
I'm starting to rather enjoy this.
Hey, say up there!
You're just in time!
Shit, they're up.
Oh. Collision course.
Mrs. Adler has a lot to answer for.
Yes, she does.
Oh my God!
What was she thinking, messing with the O'Driscolls right now?
Most excitement I've had in years. Wait till I tell Baldessario about this!
Come on, Arthur! Let's finish these bastards!
Just right, I'll deal with them.
What a day! I think I might need to adjust my feet.
Maybe just a bit. Oh, oh no.
Shady!
This is insane.
Grab the rope, come on! Grab the rope!
I'm gonna hang up your damn hide! Look out! There's a bridge up ahead!
Okay, I'll come down and get you on the other side.
Oh, that was close. You're too high!
I'm not coming.
Easy now, come on. I've almost got it! All right, hold it there, Arthur! Got it! Up, up,
Come on.
Pull me up!
I think we're gonna crash.
We have a real habit of seeing the obvious, Arthur.
Hold on.
Did you break your neck?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Damn it, look! There's more of them on the other side. They must have followed us. Get behind something. This ain't over yet. These goddamn O'Driscolls!
You can't leave it for one day?
Let's kill these sons of bitches!
Shit!
You ain't goddamn men! Here we go. Another one in. You can tell Paul he's next. Look out! More coming in behind us! You're finished. You're all gonna pay for what you did! How many of you does it take, huh? Shit! There's even more coming out of the woods!
Driscolls, hope you know how to spell it.
Send every last son of a bitch you got! Shoot him again! Come on! You boys are a goddamn joke!
I'm gonna put you down, woman.
Oh, jeez.
Come on, let's go get these sons of bitches! Nearly there! Only a few of them left! Look at those cowards! Yeah, you run! I'll catch up with you soon enough! Looks like we made it. That'll show them.
The hell is wrong with you? I only left you an hour ago. You can't stay out of trouble for one goddamn hour. You got that poor bastard killed for his troubles. I kinda liked him.
They got Combe, the government. They got Combe O'Driscoll. They're gonna hang him in Saint Denis.
Hang him. Okay.
He's already been tried twice for murder and found guilty.
Sure, no doubt he'll escape again.
No, he won't, because we're gonna make sure of it.
We have our own problems with the law, in case you ain't noticed.
Dutch will want to see him swing.
Sure, Dutch. He wouldn't even help us with Marston. And our situation is really messed up right now. You know how things is.
Bastard's gonna swing. I'm gonna make sure of it.
Closely followed by Marston.
You saw him?
Yes, in the fields.
Okay. Then we go rescue him.
From a state penitentiary?
No. But from the fields? Yes. That we can manage.
It's well guarded.
Guarded, sure, but not behind bars.
No, it's not behind bars.
So, that's how we'll do it. Bust him from his work detail.
I guess.
It's best just the two of us go.
The two of us is all there is, anyhow.
Good, because two is all we'll need. I'll get us a boat, a little one, and we'll sneak in and get him out of there. Meet me at Copperhead Landing. Thank you, Arthur.
Whatever you say, boss.
I heard that.
Oh boy. Like, we're gone for like how long, and she somehow gets into that. Let's see. Yeah, there we go.
Okay then, girl.
Okay, so that's the Gatling gun that the Pinkertons used on us and McKay. Hosea and Lenny. Oh, that hurts. That never stops hurting. My lord, what a goddamn mess. Everything. The bank job we planned so hard was a goddamn setup. Hosea got himself killed, Lenny got shot in the head, Marston got himself arrested, and is awaiting trial. We fled, leapt on a ship, sailed into a storm, the ship sank. Whole thing like a dream, like a fool's nightmare. I survived that and being lost at sea. And got washed ashore on an island called Guarma. Whatever Tahiti is like, I hope it ain't nothing like Guarma. Some nasty bastard named Fusar had the people by the by the throat, and we ended up in a fight with a goddamn army. Javier nearly died. I nearly got killed. And reminder, Fusar was one of the people pointed out to us at the Mayor's Gala by Bronte. Met some real decent folk, brave folk living in a land of hell. We got a boat out of there just about after some real nasty fighting. Don't think I met many folk deserve killing more than a piece of shit Fusar. Than that piece of shit Fusar. Yeah, I would agree. Upon returning, found the folk again, at least them as in dead. But within a few hours, the Pinkertons had found all of us. Old Agent Milton wants us all dead, and yet somehow we survived and are now planning another escape. Not sure what happens next. Whole thing has been hard on all of us. Most of all Dutch, who seems half crazed by all we've gone through. And I'm assuming that's supposed to be a mark for Hosea. That is, yeah, no, people forget, Dutch gets a bad rap, and sometimes I'm going to say well-deserved, but you got to keep in mind he's a leader for a pretty large group. We are questioning his every move because he's been getting us into a lot of bad situations. I'm going to throw a lot of that on Micah, not necessarily Dutch. But, being a leader is not easy, and we both just lost, one of the closest people in our lives, Hosea. Plus, I want to go back on the idea, he's talking about him being half crazed. Like I said, I think Dutch is suffering from post-concussion syndrome on top of the fact that he's had, Micah pressing him since, for what, 6 months, they said? 5-6 months Micah's been with them? Something like that. About the same amount of time that Charles has. Of course, but Charles is a good person. Micah is not. Okay, Beaver Hollow, so this is our new location. Molly ratted us out. Dutch broke her heart, so she told the law about us. Explains how they found us so easily, I guess. Love does strange things to all, even stranger than hate. She turned up, drunk and mouthy, and told us all this. She was so pathetic, I wanted to spare her, but Miss Grimshaw put a bullet in her anyway. Guess I was right. Guess there weren't much of a choice. This was our new camp, or this was in our new camp, high in some nasty country, badlands, or as bad as we could find this far to the east. The place we are holed up used to belong to a bunch of murderers, the Murfrees, or some nonsense like that, they call themselves. We shot some of them, but there's more lurking in the woods around this place. Don't think we have long here before the law or the Pinkertons find us again. I just hope we can keep ahead of them for a while, or ahead of ourselves. Turns out I'm not very well. Got tuberculosis. My doctor did not know how long I would last. All them bullets shot at me, all them horses threw me, all them fights, and it was beating up that pathetic little fella Downs that killed me, I reckon. He's the only man I've been near that was real sick. He begged for mercy, and I beat the bastard, and he died. And now I'm dying, too. The way of the world. My mind is racing, of course. That monk and that nun, Downs' widow, Abigail, Mary. Dutch when I first knew him, Hosea, my dead pa, the no-good bastard, the whole crowd of people. And what kind of man have I been? What kind of man am I? What world is this we live in? A land of fury or a place of love? Am I being prepared for eternal damnation? Am I past any kind of saving? Is that all fairy tales? Man ain't got much good in him. I ain't got no good in me. I don't think, and yet I see goodness. I see it, if not in me, in good folk, in Abigail and her love for Jack, in that silly monk in Downs, I guess, begging, not for himself, but for the poor, even though he was near starving himself. That does say a lot about Thomas Downs' character, I think. If you go back to Chapter 2 when we first met him in town, maybe I don't want salvation. Part of me has always longed for death. Well, here it comes, I suppose. That's dark. So we found out that Arthur was sick. If you've been paying attention since Chapter 2, it's been suggested very strongly in the way the story presents itself. Go back to when we first met Thomas Downs, because he just pointed it out in his journal that that's the only person he's been around that was sick. When we first met Thomas Downs, he was trying to stop us from beating Tommy to death in that bar fight in Valentine. The next time we saw him, it was just on the corner down the street collecting money for the poor. Then where do we see him after that? When we go to the farm to beat him, essentially, to get the money, but which ended up with us just beating him. So in that scene, if you go back to it, there's two things about it that kind of suggest that something was different about that debtor. First of all, notice that Arthur gets right up in his face and the guy coughs blood on him. Second, every time that we go to the Downs Ranch, so if you go there the first time when we beat him, or the second time when we collect the money, the rest of the money from the wife, because she does come to camp. She was that debtor that came to camp on behalf of Thomas Downs, and she informed Strauss that he had died, and Strauss told us later in Chapter 3. After every time you go to the ranch and leave, there's a cutscene. It's not like the other debtors where you can just return the funds whenever. There's cutscenes with Downs and his wife, Edith Downs. So whether it's Thomas Downs or Edith Downs, they kind of suggest there's something more to that story. And it starts with, Arthur getting coughed on by him and blood getting in his face, probably in his mouth. And now he just finds out that he has tuberculosis. So, tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Similar type of bacteria to what causes leprosy, different species. They're both types of Mycobacterium. And the bacteria are hard to kill for a number of reasons. Actually, also can be a little bit tricky to identify even. So they're both types of gram-positive bacteria. A lot of bacteria fall into one of two categories, they're gram-positive or gram-negative. Gram-positive bacteria have basically a thick cell wall around the cell itself, and then the gram-negatives have kind of a thin cell wall outside of their cell membrane, and then they have an extra membrane on the outside. And so their cell structures are a little bit different. But Mycobacterium in particular is not your typical gram-positive bacteria. It is characterized by and named as having this substance called mycolic acid in the cell wall. It's at the outside layer of the cell wall and kind of forms this thick, waxy coating on the outside and makes them really resilient to stains. And I'd also wager that it probably gives them some innate resistance to antibiotics, because even today, you can treat tuberculosis today, but it takes like a course of 4 medications to do it over a good period of time to get rid of it. And I think the reason, don't take me for science on this one. It's been a long time since I've read on the actual disease itself, but I believe the reason it takes the 4 course components because they're just really hard to kill, partly because they have that waxy coating on the outside, hence their name, and also because they actually attack what are they called? Trying to think of the name of it. The alveolar macrophages in our lungs. So in your lungs, in the alveoli, and throughout the lungs, there are these little white blood cells we have called alveolar macrophages, and their job is to pick up stuff that gets into the lungs and help defend us against them. And the Mycobacterium actually purposefully get ingested by them. I don't know if the word purposefully is a good way of putting it, but they do target those cells, and so they're actually targeting the cells in your lungs that are supposed to defend you against them. And then they grow inside of those cells. They don't get destroyed by them. And I can't remember the mechanisms they use to do that, but it's a scary type of pathogen because of that. And so they can just kind of progressively grow inside of your lungs. And eventually, and I don't remember if it happens to the macrophages themselves, but eventually they form these clusters inside of the lungs that it's called the Gone focus, and kind of triggers a lot of the issues in the lungs. So you basically have these big masses in your lungs, and you can actually see them, I believe, on X-rays if they're big enough. But it's not a fun condition to have. So, but that's again caused by the bacteria. Now, I was mentioning how they're a gram-positive bacteria. They're also called an acid-fast bacteria because the way that you test for them and the way that you visualize them is by taking like a sputum culture, and you go through this acid-fast staining, and usually the culture will look bluish, and that's like the sputum culture. And inside of it, you'll find these little rod-shaped bacteria that are kind of a purplish color. Not the typical purple you would see with gram-positive bacteria. It's kind of a reddish purple. It's got a little bit different color to it. It's hard to describe it. I almost have to show it. But it's that's what the bacteria look like because of the contrast dyes that you use on them. So the acid-fast staining changes the color a little bit. But if you try to stain them like using a normal gram stain, they don't take up the stains because of that waxy coat. So like I said, they're called Mycobacterium because of the mycolic acid, and the mycolic acid prevents the stain uptake. And so we do this acid-fast staining so that you can see the bacteria, and it kind of makes this contrast of like a purplish, reddish purple color. It's a little different from your typical gram stain because a gram-positive bacteria like Mycobacterium would typically look like a dark purple, and they don't look like that. And then in the lungs, if you go to look up like images of these, you're either going to get just a bunch of little rod-shaped bacteria. They're called bacilli. That's the name of the shape. And if it's a really progressed disease where they're in clusters, you'll kind of see these circular clusters of just a bunch of rod-shaped bacteria that kind of have that, like I said, kind of a purplish, reddish tint to them. And that's what they look like when they're in a really progressive stage. And so if you look up Mycobacterium stains, that's probably the first thing you're going to see. It's just like, it's kind of like a bluish contrast background, and a bunch of those rod-shaped bacteria in clusters. And so it's a nasty, nasty bacteria, really hard to get rid of. And at the time, getting tuberculosis, having the mycobacterium in you is not necessarily a death sentence. Your immune system can fight it off, but once you get to a progressive stage, or if you do get to a progressive stage, it's too late. There's nothing you can do about it unless you have the right treatment, which didn't exist at the time. And so Arthur's progressed to that stage where now it's beyond saving. Prognosis at this point is not good. And that's why the doctor was asking, do you have a place where you can rest and kind of keep warm and dry? And Arthur's been, look at Arthur's life so far. It's just been chaos after chaos. He's unintentionally been making this worse by living the way he does. And if he could change his lifestyle, he probably would live a bit longer. But the way he pushes himself, and the way Dutch pushes him, and the way they're always kind of constantly getting into problems, he's not getting the rest he needs. And that's going to make it progress even more. Because TB is a chronic disease. It's not something you can just get rid of. There are even cases where I know where people have been treated for it, it's gone away, and it still comes back because the bacteria didn't actually all die. So it's a devastating condition, and nowadays, I don't know exactly how common it is anymore. Not nearly as much as it used to be, but if you work in a hospital or any medical facility where you're around people, you have to get tested for TB. It's a requirement. So on top of vaccination records, you have to be tested for it because it is a very hard disease to get rid of. Medications do work nowadays. We do have medications for it and we can treat it, but it's not something that you want to end up with, and it is highly contagious. And you might ask, why aren't the other camp members getting it? And I'm going to say because typically the way we look at tuberculosis, if you look at transmission, there are two types of transmission that typically come from there's two types of transmission that involve bacteria or fungi or other pathogens being spread through the air. One of them is called respiratory transmission. Respiratory transmission is where you cough, sneeze. You are spreading droplets, respiratory droplets, from yourself, whether it's sputum or blood or a combination of both. That's typically the way we look at mycobacterium spreading. The other side of it is airborne, which is different. And sometimes there's a mix of both. Airborne is where it spreads through the air, and it's going to carry a couple of different features with it. It's not coming directly from a respiratory droplet in all cases when it's airborne. So for instance, you can have stuff that's respiratory that spreads in an airborne fashion, but you can also have stuff that's in the ground outside that can spread in an airborne fashion. And the thing that really separates airborne spread from respiratory spread is that airborne tends to stay in the air for a longer period of time because it aerosolizes. It's not in a droplet, it's not in a wet environment, it's just aerosolized, and so viruses tend to be that way. If it's respiratory, it's probably also potentially airborne. And if it's airborne, it can usually last in the air for a longer period of time. You don't need to be in the blast radius of the person that might be sneezing or coughing. It just stays there and it spreads that way. And so two things that come out of that is that airborne spread tends to last longer in the air, and it tends to, what's the other one? It tends to spread further because of that, because it's airborne, it spreads that way. So distance and time tend to be a big factor in that. Whereas tuberculosis, the mycobacterium has to be coughed onto you, and I do believe, as far as I know, the bacteria in terms of mycobacterium tend to be more respiratory spread, not airborne spread. So that's why when he coughed on him, the blood went directly into Arthur's face. That's when he caught it. And Arthur hasn't been coughing up blood a lot. He even said to the doctor sometimes, if he coughed blood into anybody's face at the camp, highly likely that they would get infected. Even if he was spreading it through an airborne fashion, it's clearly not contagious enough in this sense, or they're not compromised enough where it's affecting them. Because you could contract it and still fight it off. And so that's pretty much all I wanted to say as far as tuberculosis goes. Because that's a big background area for me, I wanted to make sure to discuss this to some extent. It's hard though. seeing your knowing your main character has picked up something like this, it's definitely a bold move on the writer's part for doing this, but I think it also has a way of pushing the story forward as well. But that's all I really wanted to say on that. So if you have questions for me, I'm happy to talk about it. I wouldn't consider myself a mycobacterium expert, but I do know a lot just because of my field of studying, because microbiology is one of the main things that I teach. So, all right, so sorry for that long-winded discussion on tuberculosis, but that is a good place to close things out. So to recap, we essentially talked to Dutch about where we're going to move next. He sent us up into the Murfree territory at Beaver Hollow, and we claimed that land for ourselves, saved a girl in the process, and brought her home to her family, to her mother. After that, we headed into Saint Denis to meet up with... before we did that, while we were in the new camp, I almost forgot, Molly showed up. So Molly showed up in camp. She informed us that she had talked to the Pinkertons and let them know about the bank robbery. Trying to get back at Dutch is the way she kind of put it. And then, while the camp was in an uproar over that, Susan, Miss Grimshaw, shot her. Because that's what they typically do with traitors in the group. They just take them out right then and there. And you'll notice, we've been visiting graves of camp members, and we're going to visit Jose and Lenny's graves because, those deaths hit really hard for me, and I think they do for a lot of other people as well. But they don't bury the bodies of traitors. They burn them, I do believe. So anyways, we went into town to meet up with Sadie, found out that Arthur was sick and had tuberculosis because we nearly fell off the horse. Whenever I kind of talked about the tuberculosis side of things. And then we met up with a pilot so that we could kind of fly over the Sisika Penitentiary and see if John was there, and he was working out in the fields. So that talk about him hanging could be very true. But at least he's alive right now. And so we're going to meet up with Sadie next time so that we can kind of see what we want to do about getting him out. So anyways, with that being said, let us close things out. I will be continuing today, so if you're here live, stick around. Otherwise, thank you all for joining, and I will see you all later.